Hi everybody, coming to you from Shir Chadash in Jerusalem on Erev Chanuka. I thought we'd have an opportunity today to share some insights about one of our favorite customs associated with Chanuka, and that is the custom to play with this little spin toy called the Dreidel. Now I know many of us have certainly been familiar with playing Dreidel since we're young kids. We all know the song, I have a little Dreidel, I made it out of clay. But what is really the significance of this custom, the origin, if you will, this custom of playing Dreidel on Chanuka? What message is this tiny little toy meant to convey to all of us on this incredible day of Chanuka? So many of us are probably familiar with the most popular explanation for the origin of the Dreidel, and that is a story associated with the story of Chanuka itself. That during the times leading up to the revolt of the Maccabees and the Chashmonaim against the Greek Empire, the Greeks prohibited the Jewish people from studying Torah and from teaching Torah. And therefore, according to the apocryphal story, when teachers would go out to study with children, each of the children would bring a little toy with them, a little top with them. And therefore, while the lesson was happening, if a Greek soldier happened to pass by, each of the children will break out their Dreidel, and the Greek soldier will perceive this class not as a Torah lesson, but rather as a play group of children, and to perceive the teacher not as a teacher of Torah, but rather simply as a supervisor of a play group for children. Of course, another important tradition associated with the Dreidel is the tradition of the letters that are engraved on each side of the Dreidel. We have a nun representing the word nes, which means miracle. We have a hey, we have a gimel, representing the word gadol, which means great. We have a hey representing the word haya, which means occurred or happened. And then, depending on where your Dreidel was made, we either have the letter shin, which corresponds to the word sham, which means there, or a pei, corresponding to the word po, which means here. And as most dreidels in the world have a shin, but the dreidels made here in Eretz Yisrael for the communities living here in the land of Israel, they have a letter pei for the word po, meaning the miracle happened here in the land of Israel. However, as we're going to hear in just a few moments, the Hasidic masters actually attribute many different messages in terms of both the origin of this custom of playing Dreidel, the meaning of this custom of playing Dreidel, as well as the true messages being conveyed by the letters encrypted on the sides of the Dreidel as well. We're going to start with the great Hasidic master, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says the Dreidel is meant to teach us that just as our Dreidel spins around, the world is in essence a wheel that's spinning around. The world is a spinning wheel. The world is constantly spinning forward, moving us, propelling us forward. And he continues, the Chanuka, in its essence, is connected to the Beit HaMikdash. The entire miracle is connected to the restoration of the Beit HaMikdash. And Rabbi Nachman says the Beit HaMikdash is also representative of this idea of the spinning wheel. Because on a certain level, what is the Beit HaMikdash? It allows us, when we come to the Beit HaMikdash, when we came to the temple in Jerusalem, it allowed us to spin out of our reality of being stuck here in the lowly physical world and to connect with the upper worlds, to feel Hashem's presence, as if Hashem's presence is spinning down into the lower worlds. These two worlds are spinning together and blending together and becoming a blur, if you will. They're becoming one, just as the Dreidel spins around and the different letters become unrecognizable and become one. So the message of the Dreidel, says Rabbi Nachman, is this idea, and the message of Chanuka ultimately, is this idea of bringing the miraculous, of bringing divinity down into this world, as well as lifting ourselves up out of a world that may sometimes seem mundane, to be able to experience the miracles that are coming into the world every single day, as the world is that spinning wheel, like the Dreidel, says Rabbi Nachman. Some other nice ideas. Reb Pinchas of Koretz, another one of the great early Hasidic masters, he explains the significance of the letters encrypted on the Dreidel to teach a totally different message than the one that we're most familiar with. Reb Pinchas of Koretz suggests that the letters Nun, Shin, Hey, and Gimel actually stands for a totally different acronym. It stands for the words Nerot Shmoneh, 8 candles, and Hallel Gamor, and the complete Hallel. So basically, says Rav Pinchas Secrets, the dreidel is a reminder of a mnemonic to remind us of the various mitzvot, the 2 mitzvot that are incumbent upon us every single day of Chanuka. Number 1, to light candles for the 8 days, Nerot Shmoneh, as well as the obligation to recite the Hallel HaGamor, the complete Hallel. The Hallel, which is songs of praise and thanks to God for the miracles He's bestowed upon us. Rav Pinchas explains further that the letters of Nun, Hey, Gimel, and Shin also add up grammatically, numerically, to the numerical value of the letters Mem, Shin, Yud, and Chet, Mashiach. The message of the dreidel, says Rav Pinchas Secrets, is not solely to remind us of a great miracle that happened in the past, but to remind us that just as that top is spinning forward, that we're spinning forward, coming closer to Mashiach. The goal of Chanuka is to propel us further and to bring us closer to the arrival of Mashiach. It's interesting to note that the Belzer Rebbe of blessed memory, Reb Aaron Rokach of Belz, who lost many of his disciples and most of his family in the atrocities of World War II, when he finally survived and came in Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael, he sent his shamash around specifically to find a dreidel that did not have the letter Pei on it about the miracle happening here in Eretz Yisrael, but specifically to have a shin on it, because the Rebbe of Belz embraced this same idea. He said, rather than just recall the past, and it's particularly poignant if you know what his immediate past was, that he lost so much in the atrocities of the Shoah, rather than focus on the past, he said, on Hanukkah we need to focus on the future. And the dreidel reminds us of that, says the Rebbe of Belz. The dreidel reminds us that the goal of moving forward towards a time where there'll be unity amongst the Jewish people, where there'll be peace and unity in the world, the time of Mashiach. And therefore, the Belzer Rebbe, rather than take a normal dreidel that he would find here in the streets in Eretz Yisrael with the letter Pei on it, he wanted to take a dreidel that had that letter Shin, because numerically, when you combine those letters, they add up to the same numerical value of the word Mashiach, as Rav Pinchas Secrets had suggested earlier in Jewish history. And ultimately, says the Belzer Rebbe, the message of Hanukkah and the message of the dreidel is not solely to remind us of our glorious past, or, God forbid, the painful episodes of our past, but rather to give us perspective and allow us to focus on the future. So if we take all these ideas, the idea from Rabbi Nachman of the dreidel symbolizing the world is propelling forward and progressing, then ultimately, and take that together with the teachings of Rav Pinchas Secrets and the Belzer Rebbe of the dreidel reminding us of Mashiach, then ultimately, what are we trying to do when we play dreidel on Hanukkah? We're not just recalling the miracles of the past, but ultimately, we're giving ourselves the chizuk, the strength to enable ourselves to see ourselves as spinning forward to the miraculous times yet to come. So my bracha for all of us here, both here in Jerusalem as well as all over the world, is that we should take to heart and heed all of these beautiful ideas from the Hasidic masters, the ideas that they say are inherent in this game that we've been playing since we're such young children, of spinning that dreidel, and that we should not only be able to celebrate and embrace the miracles of our past, but as we say every single night when we light those candles, when we say Bayamim Ahem Bazman Hazeh, we recall the miracles not only of the past, but we prepare and move ourselves forward and spin forward in order to embrace the miracles yet to come. May this year, may this Hanukkah truly be the opportunity where we see the fulfillment of not only recalling the miracles of the past, but that we should be able to experience incredible miracles, that we should be able to move forward to that epic of world history that needs to happen so desperately, of Mashiach arriving, B'mhera b'yameinu. Chanuka Sameach.